You know, there are times where my own stupidity even astounds me. Round 50 with the Vesper. Yeah, I don't really know what I was thinking on this one, but clearly nothing good. Black Ops 3 is home to some truly great guns for zombies. It is also home to some absolute stinky boys, including today's little blaster, the Vesper. And let me tell you, this gun is trash. Now, to balance the nature of this stinky boy, I decided that I wanted to at least try and save my mental health a little bit by doing this on Ascension. Yes, alright, I know it's not the most difficult map and all that, but what were you expecting? There's no way in hell I'm gonna be able to get to around 50 using this thing on Shadows or Horizon Drag. Like, it's just not happening, you know, because I actually like to be somewhat sane after these challenges. So, off to Ascension we go. First couple of rounds, just used for gathering some cheddar, to be honest. Beginning of round 3, and it was time to leave spawn, and I'm not gonna lie, there was a few seconds of deliberation here as to where to go, because I couldn't remember where the Vesper's wallby was, or if I actually had a wallby, and I'd have to try and get it from the box. But luckily, I picked correctly and went left, and there it was, just shining on the wall, begging to not be bought, because I really didn't want to do this, I'm not gonna lie. And honestly, that's the only lucky thing that happens this entire game. After grinding out a few more points, the Vesper was mine, and it was time to start working on power and Pack-a-Punch. One of which being power is on by the end of round 4. At this point, I had two options. Option 1, I'd try and get as many points together as I can and get my perks in order before the first monkey round, where I can then try and get a 5th perk. Or Option 2, I could not do that and instead work on getting the Pack-a-Punch open, and I chose the latter. I'm sure there's a few of you thinking, should have gone the perk route, and well, you'd be right. But I didn't do that. A few rounds later, Pack-a-Punch is all turned on, and it's now time for our first monkey round. And as you'll see, I only have one perk, being Quick Revive. This wouldn't have been such a big issue if there weren't some trash tier picks in the perk pool for this map, and truthfully there's only really another 3 perks I wanted on this map, being Jug, Double Tap, and Stamina, but we complete our first monkey round, we grab our free perk, and it's Deadshot. Just great. One of the 2 perks that you don't want, and of course I get it. Like, why wouldn't that be the first perk I receive, huh? So with that mistake of a free perk now in my inventory, I made an executive decision to bin off Pack-a-Punch just a few more rounds whilst I got the points together for Jug. So, you know, I at least had one useful perk in my setup. It's now round 10, Jug has been acquired, and I've got a healthy chunk of cheddar in my back pocket, so now it's time to get the Vesper upgraded to the Infernus. Great name and all, but I feel like Spray and Pray for this thing would have been more appropriate, because holy hell the amount of recoil this thing has. You'd think it was doing like a couple hundred squats a day, Jesus. Now that we had our Pack-a-Punched pea shooter, there was only one thing left to do, and that was get Double Tap. Annoyingly, it's only available via the Wonder Fizz on Ascension, but the zombie gods seem to be on my side for once, as it goes and spits out exactly what I need first try. It's now round 11, and time for our second monkey round. Unfortunately, this time we don't get a free perk, as this grubby little monster got his hands all over my Juggernog. The next few rounds were all super straightforward, as all I had to do was kill things, which unsurprisingly isn't that difficult when you've got a Pack-a-Punch gun and Double Tap. In fact, I ended up cruising my way through all of the teen rounds, where we didn't actually get any more free perks, sadly, because the monkeys are built like brick shithouses after a few rounds, but we were doing well. However, once we crossed into the 20s, things did begin to shift in the opposite direction. The Vesper was doing pretty well up to this point, and the damage was still okay even at round 21, but the ammo not so much. Right at the beginning of round 21, I bought more ammo, meaning, you know, I was fully stacked. By the end of round 21, I had used somewhere around 2/3 of all of my ammo, and all I was doing was literally clicking heads, burst firing as much as I could to conserve bullets, and I still managed to use nearly all of them. You might be sat there thinking, Satch, that's not a big deal. It is a big deal, alright, because once I get close to round 30 and I've got to buy multiple hits of ammo every single round, it's just not going to be great, mainly because the Vesper is located in a literal death trap of an area, which is just wonderful for me. So now that we all know the Vesper is showing its stinky qualities, it's time to move forward. Round 22 to 24 were nice and simple as the zombie gods graced me with a bunch of insta-kills and death machines, meaning I didn't really need to touch the Vesper too much. Round 25 and the monkeys are back, and this time I actually do manage to kill them all without either my perks or me getting hit, meaning free perk time. I got Mule Kick. Just superb luck, huh? My luck got even worse as when I was heading back to my training spot, I got myself stuck and ended up taking a down, making round 26 a butt clench round, if you get what I'm saying. The Vesper without double tap at this round is just straight ass. It is so incredibly useless, and I was just about to call it a day, but then I get myself a lucky insta-kill drop. With the insta active, I legged it down to Jug and got it bought, and the next stop was quick revive. I make it down to spawn, but the zombies are right up my ass, meaning we gotta do a lot of better blasting. But shortly after, we grab our blue safety juice and we're almost all the way back. Round ends and I've still got 2 perk slots to fill, so I hit the Wonder Fizz hoping for double tap, and of course it spits me out Deadshot. Like, no thank you. I head back up to the landing spot and I spin for a Gobblegum. The only one that I was wanting was cashback, which I did not get. Lo and behold, about 30 seconds later, my gun is running dry, meaning I need to make a trip over to the Warbuy. It's also at this point where I'm beginning to think it's time to get ourselves an AAT by the name of Deadwire. First things first, however, I run over to the Warbuy and I go to pull the lever for the trap, but for some reason I change my mind. Like, I don't understand either. That decision ultimately leaves me trapped, and I then, and only then, decide now is the perfect time to hit the trap when I'm surrounded, which gets me downed. So yeah, just great decision making there from me. Now there's fire spitting from the ground at the only exit. I'm still surrounded by zombies, but I'm all but dead. I try to fight my way out, but it's too late. I get trapped and we're dead. Giving us around 27 demise. But I knew I could do better, so the pain continues as I run it back. Round 4 and I'm picking up the Vesper. In between games, I decided to kit out my Vesper just a little bit, as I always do seem to forget about doing that, and this time I learned from my mistakes. Instead of gunning it for Pack-a-Punch as soon as possible, I went for perks instead. Round 6 and I grab Stamina Up. Double tap is up next, and also the trickiest one to get a hold of, but after a few spins of the Wonder Fizz, it's all mine. Round 7 and no monkeys, thankfully, meaning by the end of that round I would have all 4 perks as I picked up Jug. It's round 8 and time for monkeys. We take them all out and my free perk is Mule Kick. So, you know, wonderful. With that disappointment out of the way, it was time I turned my attention to Pack-a-Punch. And yes, you do see a Killjoy in my inventory. I'll get to that in a minute. Round 11, Pack-a-Punch is all turned on, and it's time to upgrade our Vesper once again. This time, I was actually feeling much more confident. I kitted out and Pack-a-Punch Vesper with 5 perks by round 12. That's not a bad start. The teen rounds also began pretty incredibly with the monkey round, and I managed to swindle myself another free perk, and this time the game didn't shaft me and it gave me Widow's Wine, which is a great pickup. The remaining teen rounds were once again a dawdle. I mean, yes, there were a few close calls here and there, but you know, gotta keep it lively somehow. Now, the Killjoy. I know you're all eager to hear as to why they're there. Some of you may remember a video I made a few months ago where I attempted to get to round 50 using the Shiva, and it was a pretty good run. I think we made it to the low 40s. But the one thing that troubled me the most was the sheer health the monkeys have once you cross round 20. I don't know what they did, but the scaling in health those little shits have is wild. So to avoid losing all of my perks to them every single time, because I'm shooting snowballs at them, I opted to use an insta-kill when they popped up. Round 21, it does its job and protects my juicy goodness, and no, I'm not talking about Takio's booty. But on round 26, the same cannot be said. The monkeys spawn and I take out all but 2 of them. I'm running around, I'm looking for the final monkeys, and they start taking my Jug. The insta-kill is active, I make it there, blast them both, but at the very last second, the little jerk-offs steal my Jug, leaving me Jugless on round 27, and it was not looking good for me. Thankfully, the Vesper was was still doing an alright job at mowing down the undead, but on round 30, I decided that now would be the time to put an AAT on this gun. No joke, round 30, yeah, I think I deserve it, okay? I head down to the Pack-a-Punch at the beginning of the round, and everything just goes to shit. I get greedy, Pack-a-Punch spits me out of Thunderwall, and then turned, but I put it back in for a third spin, where I then get overrun by zombies, losing my gun in the Pack-a-Punch. So now that I had no gun, I spun the Gobblegum machine in hopes of a killing time, just to try and save my life, but I ended up with the Packaholic, so I took it. I run down to the Vesper Warbite and I get it bought. We're in an all too familiar position, but this time I had the trap going from the start just to take out as many zombies as possible. When I thought the round was coming to a close, I decided to leave. I run through the fire, kill more zombies, only to realize I had no ammo. So I head back thinking there wouldn't be any zombies in that area anymore, but of course I was very wrong and there's nothing to do except to accept my fate. 30 rounds down and it was all over. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna go cry myself to sleep now, and as always, I'll see you in the next one.